Want to feel more connected where you live?
Without it being awkward?
We've got 6 tips on how to feel at home in the Roanoke Valley.
So let's be honest, Roanoke can sometimes feel like a place you drive through instead of a place that you actually belong. But it doesn't have to actually feel that way.
Yeah, today we're going to share 6 easy and fun ways to plug into your community starting this week.
So today we are in downtown Salem, or just off of Main Street, close to Roanoke College of Behavior to the right. Actually has Salem City Hall right over here. So we're going to give you kind of a boots on the ground type of flavor of what it's like to feel like you're in the community here in the Roanoke Valley.
Yeah, one of the most popular questions that we get is, am I going to feel at home? Am I going to fit into the community? Well, the good news is, yes, you can. There's a lot of Southern hospitality in general in the Valley. The bad news is it's going to take time and you have to put in the effort.
That's right. You got to put some effort in.
Hey, real quick, it's Hal and Chris. If you're interested in buying or selling in Roanoke, reach out to us with the contact information on the screen.
And be sure to take the neighborhood quiz, which is in the description below, to find out what part of Roanoke is going to be best for you.
So as you are doing your part, you do not need a neighborhood app. You don't need a giant block party to feel at home here in the Star City. Sometimes all it takes is a walk, which we've been doing here, a little wave to your neighbor, and just showing up where the people are. These are just simple shifts that have helped us and others in the Roanoke Valley to feel like we're not just living here, but we're actually part of something bigger and belonging here in the Roanoke Valley.
Yeah, and there's something else that helped me too, especially. I found this book, I stumbled upon it. It's by Melody Warnick. It's called This Is Where You Belong. Ironically, Melody lives right up the road in Blacksburg, and she wrote a book on how to belong. She calls it Place Attachment, the science of making your town feel like home. So I highly recommend you check this book out. We've given it to some of our sellers that have relocated to this area, and it helps them get plugged into the community by small, simple steps. So let's dive into those tips.
Not our sellers that have moved to the community, but our buyers that relocated to the community, right?
Thank you. You know what? I have given it to sellers, though. That was on my mind recently, because we did give it to a seller that was moving to a new town.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, you know what? Take this book and then go dig those roots into your new community. So thanks for the slip up, but I give it to buyers and sellers.
No, that's a good point. Well, thanks for that reminder that buyers and sellers can actually utilize that book, because if they're moving away from us, they're gonna need to get plugged in.
It's a great gift.
So tip number 1 here is take a walk with a purpose. I think our purpose is running away from the dogs right now. I like walking your dog or pushing a stroller. I just exercise. Your golden ticket to casual connection.
Yeah, Melody in her book found that people who walk their neighborhood were more likely to feel rooted. Hi, Pop. Because they start recognizing faces and greeting their neighbors. It's little moments like that that really do add up.
Yep. So, here in the Roanoke Valley, we've got amazing spots for this, like the Greenway, the Mill Mountain Trails up by the Star, or going up to the Star, or just strolling through your block at the same time every single day. Like right now, people love walking these particular areas here in Salem. Sidewalk, nice wide streets, and that type of thing. So, if you're out and about, you're waving at your neighbors, you're not going to be a stranger anymore. It's going to become part of your daily rhythm here.
I got to tell y'all a funny story. This worked great for me when we first moved back to Roanoke, to the Bonsack area. I didn't know anybody, but I did notice every morning the same mom walking same time down our neighborhood. So I ran out there one day and started up a conversation, and we became fast friends.
Oh yeah, that's right. You guys are still friends today, even across state lines, because they're in Wisconsin now. And ultimately, basically stay consistent, take that same route at the same time every day, and you're gonna build those relationships starting at the basis right there.
Number 2, hit up the farmers markets. Farmers markets aren't just about produce, it's about building community connections, and they're just like the hub of activity.
You're building connections shoulder to shoulder with your neighbors, with the farmers, the small business owners, all in one place. Melody in her book calls this participating in your place. Actually showing up to shared experiences and spaces.
You know, as a family, we committed to walking to our local farmers market. And now, I mean, it's awesome. We love to chat with Charlie, the fish guy with local seafood delivery, and grab a cold brew from our favorite farmer, Primitive Farmer, right?
Yep,
And Stewart.
Yep, Primitive Farms and
That's
Stewart.
fun.
It's got chicken, jerky, the cold brew. Like, I don't even like cold brew. But once I had it, I was like, oh my goodness, gotta have more. But, you know, on the new health journey that we're on with our diet, yeah, not so much. We're gonna have to cut that out.
Yeah, and we have the historic city market downtown. This is the longest continuously operating farmers market. I love saying that because it's awesome. But there's others too. There's like South County, Grandin, Salem, Daleville, and even Benton. But while you're wandering through the stands, don't just grab your tomatoes and leave. Like, talk to the vendor, ask the beekeeper how their honey is made, and just know that each of these conversations really help with your sense of belonging.
Tip 3, say hi to your neighbors.
Yeah.
You know, here is the simplest one. You know, just start with a wave, a quick hello. Ask how their weekend was. You know, you don't need to have a 20-minute conversation. Although in my head, and I think Chris's head, we're like, we feel like we got to make this longer than it needs to be, right?
Right.
But just by doing that, those small habits are gonna build and compound and become real, authentic relationships.
Yeah, I think about in Roanoke, you know, the neighborhoods like Wasena, Grandin, Hollins, they each have their own character and flavor, but what makes them feel like home are truly the people. So, like a neighbor that waves to you when you pull into the driveway or checks in on you during a snowstorm, that is what builds community, and it's awesome to get to know people.
Yeah, and in her book, Melody talks about, you know, exactly how connection starts with courage. You know, that first hello feels really awkward, but it's actually a powerful step forward, you know, gives you a feeling of home. She even experimented with waving at strangers just to actually kind of break through her fear of probably, I feel like it's like rejection, right? It's like we're like, oh, let's not do this, right? It's not going to go well.
I'm just the opposite. The kids always laugh at me and they're like, gosh, you talk to everybody, Mom. But I feel like you can meet people in some of the most random places and lines and stuff. And in general, again, people are just so friendly around here. All it takes is a wave or a smile. It's pretty awesome.
Tip number 4 is host or join something. You know, once you feel a little bit more plugged in, you actually are nice and settled, why not take it up a notch and take that big leap, you know? So host something small. You know, it can be as simple as inviting 2 families over for a porch hangout, hosting a football game. You know, I like to watch Georgia football, so call me over. I'll come hang out and watch it. You can have a potluck at one of the local parks like Highland Park in Roanoke City.
Yeah, I mean, as a busy family, a couple stages ago, we had families over for a Saturday brunch. That worked perfect. It's a low time commitment and a very low pressure. It was really a lot of fun. We enjoyed that. We're a little past that right now, but we'll have to do something else.
And you know, Roanoke is full of other easy entry points for this. You know, like for instance, you could meet up with some friends at First Fridays in downtown Roanoke.
That's a good one.
You go see live music at Star Hill, which is over close to Dr. Pepper Park and Carilion. Or you could go to do trivia at some of the local restaurants. You know, you don't have to make a big event all by yourself. You can just be the coordinator and sync up at a community event.
Yeah, I think Melody discovered that hosting even something really small, like really multiplied her sense of belonging. People remember the invitation, not whether your house was spotless, you still had boxes all around, or if the snacks were fancy. So just do it.
All right, tip number 5 is support local spots. You know, being a small business owner ourselves, we highly encourage you to also support the smaller businesses in the community. They're kind of the lifeblood of our area. So one of the best ways for you to feel connected is gonna be for you to become a regular somewhere. Whether it's a coffee shop, library, yoga studio, showing up at some place that builds community, like I could say like me going to the Y every morning, right? So consistently there, showing up. So I continue to build relationships. I've been there almost a year now, I think, but it's like, I've got some of those friends there now that are like better than acquaintances.
Yeah, and they know your name, right?
Right.
That's the most important thing. I mean, in Roanoke, we have a ton of local gems like the Albemarle House for Coffee, Community Inn, Hustle,
Haven.
Haven, thank you. You know, all these places you can pop in, go once and you're a customer, but go often and you're really become part of the story. So that's awesome. And you said you like the gym. I mean, you've built that community and people know you by name. This is what I really struggled with living in Atlanta, the bigger city. Even though I would go to the same restaurant and bar every single week, they never knew my name. It drove me nuts. I couldn't find my Cheers restaurant, right?
Y'all know that. Y'all know Cheers, right? Remember that theme song. Tip number 6 is volunteer your time. You know, volunteering, it's like a fast track to belonging. You know, you're shoulder to shoulder with people who care about the same things that you do.
That's true.
And instead of small talk, you're actually connecting over a shared goal.
Oh, I love that.
yes.
That's awesome. Roanoke has endless opportunities, young and old alike. The Rescue Mission, Agape Center, Clean Valley Council is where I got my start. You can do some cleanups there, or even just handing out water at a 5K along the Greenway. Not only are you making the valley better, but you're also making good friends in the process.
Yeah, so I'm gonna recommend here that you just start small.
Oh,
You know, even an hour once a month makes a difference. You know, choose something you're passionate about, and connection will follow naturally.
that's true. And I always jump in. I'm like, oh, I can do all things in all time. But you know what? Plugging in doesn't have to be awkward. It can be fun, meaningful, and even energizing. Here in the Roanoke Valley, connection is literally all around you. So, but you remember, you have to be willing to take that first step.
So, you know, whether it's a walk on the Greenway, a chat at the farmer's market, you know, or a wave in the neighborhood, or like me, if I'm waving to you from Mr. T, my Toyota Tundra, you know, every small effort, you know, builds your sense of community and belonging.
But don't just believe us. We want to hear from you. How have you plugged into your community? Or are you just getting started? Drop your story in the comments below because we'd love to hear how you're building connections where you live. And make sure you check out Melody's book, This Is Where You Belong.
And we'll see you on the next video.